Welcome to Chronicles of Humanity Stories. The Rise of Agriculture and Early Civilizations.
Have you ever wondered how we went from wandering nomads to building the incredible cities we live in today? It's a story that spans thousands of years, a story of ingenuity, observation, and a revolutionary shift that changed the course of human history forever. This is the story of agriculture and the dawn of civilization. For millennia, our ancestors, Homo sapiens, roamed the vast landscapes of Africa, Asia, and Europe. Their lives were a constant search for food, hunting wild animals and gathering whatever edible plants they could find. They were experts in survival, intimately connected to the rhythms of the natural world. But this nomadic lifestyle was about to change. Over countless generations, these early humans became keen observers. They weren't just surviving, they were learning. They watched the seasons change, noticing the patterns of rain and sun. They saw how seeds buried in the earth would sprout after a downpour, and how fruits would ripen at certain times of the year. This deep, accumulated knowledge was the seed of a revolution. And then it happened. Instead of just gathering wild grains, they began to plant them deliberately. Instead of just hunting wild animals, they started to capture and raise them. This incredible turning point, the beginning of farming and animal husbandry, is what we now call the agricultural revolution. It wasn't a single event, but a gradual process that unfolded independently in different corners of the world, each with its own unique story. Let's journey to Mesopotamia, the land nestled between the mighty Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Here, around 10,000 years ago, some of the very first farmers began to cultivate wheat and barley. They learned to tame wild goats and sheep, providing a steady source of milk, wool, and meat. For the first time, people didn't have to move to find food. They could stay in one place. They built permanent villages, constructed granaries to store their surplus harvests, and ingeniously dug canals to channel river water to their fields. Life was becoming more stable, more predictable. Now, let's travel south to the land of the pharaohs, ancient Egypt. Here, life was dictated by the Nile River. Every year, the Nile would flood, depositing a rich layer of fertile silt along its banks. The Egyptians learned to harness this natural cycle. They grew bountiful crops of barley and wheat in the rich soil left by the floods. To protect their fields and manage the water, they built impressive dikes and canal systems. The Nile wasn't just a river. It was the source of life and the foundation of one of the most enduring civilizations in history. Across the globe, in ancient China, a similar story was unfolding along the Yellow and Yangtze rivers. But here, the staple crops were different: millet in the north and rice in the south. These early Chinese farmers also domesticated pigs, which became a crucial part of their diet. As their farming techniques improved, small settlements grew, forming the very first agricultural villages in the region, laying the groundwork for a civilization that would last for thousands of years. And what about the Americas? The journey here was unique. Thousands of years after migrating across the Bering Strait, humans in Mesoamerica and the Andes began to cultivate a vibrant array of crops. Maize, which we know as corn, became a cornerstone of their diet, alongside beans, squash, and sweet potatoes. They also domesticated animals found nowhere else, like the llama in the Andes and the turkey in North America. These agricultural innovations allowed complex societies to flourish long before any contact with the Old World. This shift to agriculture had a massive game-changing consequence. A population boom, with a more reliable and abundant food supply. More children survived into adulthood and communities grew. What started as small, humble villages began to expand. They morphed into bustling towns and eventually into the world's very first cities. These early cities were marvels of human cooperation. They weren't just collections of houses. They had complex irrigation systems, massive food storage facilities, designated residential areas, and impressive religious centers like temples and ziggurats. Life in these concentrated settlements brought about another profound change: the division of labor. No longer did everyone have to be a farmer. With a surplus of food, some people could specialize in other skills. Some became potters, creating vessels to store grain and water. Others became skilled artisans, crafting tools from stone, metal, and wood. Some dedicated their lives to understanding the spiritual world, becoming priests and healers, while others emerged as leaders and organizers, managing the city's resources and people. This specialization made society more efficient, more complex, and more innovative. From these vibrant urban centers, the first great civilizations were born. Let's return to Mesopotamia, to the city of Uruk. Here, one of humanity's greatest inventions emerged: writing. They developed cuneiform, a script of wedge-shaped marks pressed into clay tablets, to keep track of trade, laws, and history. They established formal legal codes and sophisticated administrative systems to govern their growing population. Uruk was a true pioneer, a blueprint for cities to come. In Egypt, powerful pharaohs unified the lands along the Nile. They were seen as divine rulers, and under their command, the Egyptians built the awe-inspiring pyramids and temples that still capture our imagination today. They developed a rich culture of art, a complex religion centered on the afterlife, and made significant advances in medicine and engineering. Meanwhile, in the Indus Valley, in modern-day Pakistan and India, cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were masterpieces of urban planning. They were laid out in orderly grid patterns, with advanced drainage and sewer systems that wouldn't be seen again for centuries. Large granaries suggest a well-organized central government that managed the agricultural surplus. Back in China, the early dynasties mastered bronze casting, created intricate pottery, and developed their own system of writing on oracle bones used for predicting the future. They built large-scale irrigation projects to control rivers and expand their agricultural output, fueling the growth of their kingdom. And in the Americas, the Olmec civilization emerged in the lowlands of south-central Mexico. They are famous for carving colossal stone heads, massive portraits of their rulers. The Olmecs laid the cultural foundations for later Mesoamerican civilizations, developing early forms of writing, mathematics, and a complex religious cosmology. Thanks to agriculture and the rise of cities, the human story was fundamentally rewritten. We were no longer just a species of nomads, adrift in the wilderness. We became builders, creators, and historians. We learned to record our past and plan for our future through writing. We created breathtaking art that expressed our beliefs and decorated our lives. We engineered sophisticated tools and structures that allowed us to shape our environment. And most importantly, we built complex social systems that allowed us to live together in large numbers, cooperate on massive projects, and pass our knowledge down through generations. This incredible journey from hunting and gathering, to farming and village life, to the creation of cities and civilizations was a long and challenging one, but it stands as a powerful testament to human intelligence, creativity, and our remarkable capacity for cooperation. The skills and systems developed during this pivotal era didn't just help our ancestors survive, they laid the very foundation for the modern world we inhabit today. Every city, every book, every law, every farm has its roots in this miraculous transformation. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more explorations into our incredible shared history. Let me know in the comments which ancient civilization you find most interesting. Until next time, stay curious.